Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, joins us on this broadcast. Mohan Kumarmangalam, spokesperson of the Congress, and law and political analyst Desh Ratan Nigam joining us on this broadcast. Let me open this up as to why exactly are we seeing politics over something that should be far and beyond this. We stand as one country as far as ISRO's success is, and it is ISRO's success alone. So who is trying to appropriate this and who is trying to politicize this achievement is the big debate this Saturday night. And let me begin by asking you, Mr. Kumarmangalam, what exactly is the issue? Is the issue that the Prime Minister went there straight after he landed in Delhi, he landed in India, or that he named certain points on the lunar surface, or that there was a roadshow that was conducted? Because many within the Congress party have raised several different issues. What exactly seems to be the problem?
So I have no problem with the Prime Minister arriving in Bangalore, and I heard his speech, and I thought his speech was also good. He encouraged the scientists. I think the problem really is in the way the Prime Minister tends not to share the frame with anyone whenever something successful happens. You know, in 1675, I'm reminded of a letter that Isaac Newton wrote to his fellow scientist, I think it was Robert Hooke, and he said that if I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's sort of the talisman for every scientist. Unfortunately, post-2014, it's not the talisman for this Prime Minister, because with every generation, with every Prime Minister, with every year, ISRO has made strides. I know that the government released a sort of report card saying that this last decade has been the decade for space. But if you look at what happened before that, a lot of the foundational blocks were also built by governments prior to that, which this particular Prime Minister and this government doesn't want to acknowledge in any way. In particular, I think it was strange that even though it's protocol and the Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister were going to go receive the Prime Minister, he, from his office, sent a message saying that they shouldn't come. And I guess the victory parade that he went on in Bangalore is the reason why he didn't want either the Deputy CM or the CM to be along with him. Now, that victory parade, if it had included, let's say, the main scientist, Mr. P. Veeru or Shrikant, who's the mission director, or Kalpana, who's the associate project director, some of the prominent scientists who are responsible for this mission, it would have been much nicer. But I understand the Prime Minister, as I said, doesn't like sharing the frame with anybody at all.
Sure, you say that it would have been nicer if there were scientists that were part of this particular victory parade, as you call it, and you say that this really was the Prime Minister making it all about himself. Then why raise objections that the Chief Minister or the Deputy Chief Minister were not there? Wouldn't that be counterproductive as well?
No, it's protocol for the Deputy Chief Minister and Chief Minister to go. The Prime Minister made it a point to tell them not to come. In fact, one of the local politicians from the Bharatiya Janata Party in Karnataka said that they were called, but they didn't come, and it's an insult to the Prime Minister. He obviously did not get the same communique that the PMO sent to the CM and the Deputy CM. So why is it that they were excluded from it? It's protocol for them to come and receive him. They were told not to come because he wanted to be on that victory parade all by himself. Which is fine. I just wish he had taken some scientists along, because it's their victory.
Sure, I think that that issue was actually put to rest. The Prime Minister did address it during his speech. We had DK Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister, also did come out and say that it was fine if we weren't invited, and that's all right. So let's leave that aside. But Shehzad Poonawalla, the Congress says that the Prime Minister was making this all about himself, as he always does.
It's pretty rich coming from a party that created a museum that was dedicated just to one Prime Minister, and when that museum was renamed after all the Prime Ministers who had contributed to this country, given the great spirit that Mohan has displayed just now, they were the first ones to say that, look, Nehru's legacy is being destroyed just because the museum was named after the institution of the office of the Prime Minister. Pretty rich coming from them. And it's even more rich that the party spokesperson is on the one hand celebrating the fact that the first time there was an impact on the moon from one of our space bodies, it was called the Jawarhal point. Remind me, and Poonam, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the contributions of great scientists of ISRO should have been the one that should have been used as a name for that point. But it was shamelessly named in 2008 by Manmohan Singh government as what? As Jawarhal point. And look at the irony. Today, Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3's impact point, whether it's the Vikram lander, by the way, the Vikram lander has been named after Vikram Sarabhai. Both have been named after what? Tiranga point, which reflects the collective resolve of 140 crore Indians, and Shiv Shakti point. And imagine the thought behind Shiv Shakti point. Shiv and Shakti, male and female. In fact, it is the Nari Shakti of the female ISRO scientists that have made this mission possible. people. Apart from that, there is a huge scientific and big messaging of the name of Shiv Shakti. I am just glad that the UPA is not in power. Had the UPA been in power, by the way, Chandrayaan 2 would never have taken off, because we know the politics behind which they delayed Chandrayaan 2. But let's assume that if they would have even sent Chandrayaan 2, Chandrayaan 3 into space and onto the moon, what would have happened is they would have probably named it Robert Point, or maybe Sonia Point, or maybe Rahul Point, or maybe Priyanka Point. So I'm glad today Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3 have seen the light of day. But yes, Mr. Mohan Kumarmangalam should take credit. See, he doesn't want me to go into the facts that out of 89 missions, 47 came in the last 9 years, that the budget of ISRO was more than doubled in the last 9 years, the fact that today private sector has been allowed and 150 startups have been created. He doesn't want me to go into these uncomfortable facts. I won't go into it. Just 3 simple questions for Mohan. 1. What happened during the UPA tenure? Wasn't the Antrix Devas deal done, which was shrouded in fraud? 2. Why was Chandrayaan 2 delayed? 3. Why was ASAT never done, as the DRDO had the capabilities but you never allowed ASAT? And 4. An extra question for you. What did you all do with people like Nambi Narayan? The kind of hounding that was done by Congress and left government successively after the scientific thought process and geniuses like Mr. Nambi Narayan, the only thing you all should have is regret. The fact is today that the entire country is celebrating, but the Congress party, which has a mentality of family first, is unhappy because people have been kept first, because country's achievements have been kept first.
Mr. Kumarmangalam, some numbers there coming to the fore. Can you deny the fact that the budget for...
Let me respond.
Yes, the budget has seen an increase of 123%, if I'm not mistaken. The kind of missions that we've seen pre-2014, post-2014, there is a vast difference in that. What would explain that then, you would think?
The first satellite was named Aryabhatta by then in the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. This isn't about family. Jawarhal Nehru has a very special place in every Indian's heart. He was our first Prime Minister. And I should, in response to the first point he made about renaming Jawaharlal Nehru's home in Delhi to the Prime Minister Memorial, every country in the world, every modern democracy has retained their first Prime Minister's home and has not changed its name. It's just the pettiness of Mr. Modi to do that. Now, let me get into the fact that, yes, I know the government tweeted out that budget has increased by 123%. But did you know from 2004 to 2012, the budget during UPA years was increased by 183%, almost 2 times. Also, during the global financial crisis, the budget wasn't reduced even once. But this last year, the budget for ISRO was reduced by 8% by this Modi government. Do you know that the Heavy Industries Corporation, which built the platform for Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3, the employees of this corporation have not been paid for the last 17 months. And their own minister in Rajya Sabha said that they're supposed to take care of themselves. They're an independent corporation. They shouldn't look to us for any sort of proceeds. So on one side, you're not paying the people who are actually building Chandrayaan 3 or building the platform or part of the system for Chandrayaan 3, but you show up in the frame just when Chandrayaan 3 is landing. You know, there's a joke going around that if this happened in 2011 when Dhoni was hitting that final 6, we probably couldn't see that final 6 because Mr. Modi would have showed up in the frame. So this sort of usurping of credit and not giving anybody credit before that. I mean, like I said, I started saying that you're standing on the shoulders of giants as scientists. PSLV, GSLV, today GSLV MK3 has been refined so that we can do many more international launches. We went from taking light payloads to 4 to 5 tons during UPA to now 10 tons. This is an evolutionary process. Back then, when we were launching PSLVs, 3 out of 6 were failing. The beauty of ISRO is it is super resource efficient and they iterate and learn every time they make mistakes. This is credit to the scientists.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about budgets. I've already made my point on budgets. So Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla can keep, selectively picking facts and, only tooting his own horn. But the truth of the matter is that the Prime Minister and the BJP government did not even deem it worthy to pay 17 months of salary for Heavy Industries Corporation, which actually built the platform for Chandrayaan 3.
Sure. Shehzad, I see your hand up going there and I will give you time to rebut. Yes, I will give you time, but I just want to, I just want to ask Mr. Mohan Kumarmangalam that you talk about how the Prime Minister has been wanting to take credit and overshadow the ISRO scientists. But if I'm not mistaken, right after the landing took place, we had someone from the Congress and many, in fact, from the Congress who came out and said that all we're seeing today is because of the early efforts that Prime Minister Nehru made. So the BJP would then say it was really the Congress that began the politics over this, and the credit war started back then.
I think the BJP began politics over this when Mr. Modi occupied half the frame when landing was going on. Many people watching the landing were suddenly surprised to see Mr. Modi popping in the frame just to wave a flag. That was political in itself. Why were we watching him? We should have seen in one frame the scientists in the control room and in one frame the lander.
Sure.
What was Mr. Modi doing in the frame at all?
Sure. Shehzad, yes, go ahead.
I don't know how much part of the frame Indira Gandhi was hogging when she was giving messages to Rakesh Sharma, who Mamata Banerjee famously called Rakesh Roshan. So I don't know how much part of the frame. Maybe Mohan Kumarmangalam can use the measuring tape that he has to measure how much part of the screen she was hogging. But anyways, perhaps he doesn't believe that Manmohan Singh or any other Prime Minister had inspirational leadership to offer, especially to scientists who are looking for some kind of motivation that every president or prime minister in the respective countries gives to scientists in such issues. But anyways, having said that, he has spoken about HEC. I'm glad that at least like his colleague Digvijay Singh, he hasn't called them ISRO scientists. But since he's concerned about HEC, here is a report of 1987 when HEC was actually ruined and run to the ground. By whom? By the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. By the way, Mr. Mohan Kumarmangalam, you should tell us that the HEC went for the longest strike during 1987. And since you like to credit everything to Nehru, you won't be offended if I take you back just to Rajiv Gandhi's era. And by the way, look at the irony. If you remind them of Nehruji's faults in China, they say, why go back there? But for ISRO, they want to go back to Nehru. That is their double speak. Also, since Mr. Kumarmangalam, you are so pro ISRO, etc. ISRO was making how much money? Zero money in the UPA tenure because you only launched 35 international satellites. Today, ISRO, by launching 389 foreign satellites, has earned its own funds of 3,300 crores. Why don't you tell me how much during the UPA tenure it did make? And by the way, if you're telling me those figures, tell me about Aditya L1 mission. It was conceived in 2008. Can you just tell me how much money you all accorded to Aditya L1 mission from 2008 to 2014? Let's not put you in that embarrassing spot. Just let's ask you and tell you that yes, all the institutions were created by you, whether it is HAL, whether it is the PSU banks, whether it is SBI, whether it's LIC. But today LIC is recording biggest profits. Today SBI has become more profitable company than even Reliance. Today ISRO is making 3,300 crores of profits. Today HAL, which you had forgotten, has started earning a higher profit, and this is the turnaround story under Narendra Modi government, which you will never acknowledge. But yes, since you're so obsessed with the fact that everything should be named after Jawarhal, Rashid Alvi, a Congress leader, has actually opposed and said it is laughable that the point should be named Shiv Shakti. This is just your casual Hindu hatred that you have. You denied existence of Shri Ram, you're opposed to Ram Mandir, and now if the point on the southern tip of the moon is called Shiv Shakti, you probably have a problem with both Shiv and Shakti.
Sure. So like I pointed out right in the beginning, there seem to be a lot of issues, not just within the Congress, but within the opposition itself. I want to get in Desh Ratan Nigam as well. He's been patiently waiting on this debate. And Mr. Nigam, there's many within the opposition that have also come out and said that this is just the Prime Minister and the BJP tom-tomming about this because they're going to use this in the upcoming elections. But do you really think something like this should be politicized at all? Like our defense forces, like our military, some things should be kept beyond and above politics, and an achievement like this as well. Secondly, do you actually think that this would make any impact when the voter has to go vote? Would they actually think about these things, make the linkage to what political party is in power at the time, and then accordingly vote?
Well, Poonam, those who are in power and work must get credit. This is how democracy functions. And there are certain admitted facts that the launching capabilities of India has increased manifold. Powerful rockets have been created, which were not there earlier. The frequency of launch has increased manifold, as said by Mr. Somnath also. The Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. Jitendra Singh, has also said so. And the number of satellites which are being launched have been increased to hundreds from being few in the previous government. These are admitted facts. Nobody can deny it. Yes, the debit and credit of government must get is on the basis of the proportion of work that they have done. In the past, until 2014, we have all to see how much was work done in the space of field, and 2014 how much work has been done. It's very factual. It's not about politics, and therefore if the Congress has done little, they'll get little credit about it. They may have started a space committee in 1963, but Jawaharlal ji died in 1964. Thereafter it was taken up by Lal Bahadur Shastri, no credit given to him, and also subsequently PV Narasimha Rao. No credit given to him. So everybody must get credit, and if you have done little work, you will get little credit. And if the today's government is doing much more work than that was done in the past, as clearly established by the admitted fact, and they will get the credit for it, and in the same proportion the amount of work that they have done.